My sister's unruly children scribbled on my walls, wrecked my garden, and struck my dog, leading me to ask them to leave after just 2 days. My younger sister and her family, her husband, and their 2 kids, aged 3, F and 5, M, were visiting my husband and me and staying at our home for a week. For some background, we don't live in the same state. I have kids of my own, but they are young adults now and have moved out. My sister is much younger than me and still has young children. Despite our age difference, we've always had a close relationship. My sister practices gentle parenting, a term I had never heard before her visit. I suppose I'm a bit out of touch since my kids are grown. She explained that gentle parenting means they don't use timeouts, grounding, or any form of punishment, but instead talk about feelings. I found this approach a bit odd, as it seemed like there was no discipline involved, but I chose not to comment to avoid conflict. That was until I witnessed gentle parenting in action and was appalled. During the first 2 days of their stay, her daughter drew on my walls with crayons, and her son pulled up flowers I had recently planted in my garden bed and threw a rock at my car parked in the driveway. To top it all off, they both kept pulling my golden retriever's hair and hitting her in the face. My dog is very sweet and a little older, so she's calm and patient. She never bit, attempted to bite, or did anything that could harm or spook the kids. In each instance, I expected my sister or her husband to discipline their kids. They never did, so I decided to step in. Or at least I tried to. Just telling her kids to stop or scolding them slightly made my sister lose her temper. She told me it wasn't my place to discipline them. I replied that someone had to because they were damaging my home, but I agreed it should be the parents. However, it seemed their parents were unwilling to do anything. I suggested that her kids needed a stern talking to, and perhaps making them clean up what they had destroyed. She dismissed this, saying what her kids did wasn't serious enough to warrant discipline. All she did was ask them, "What kind of feelings are you having that made you do that?" And that was it. Realizing this behavior wasn't going to stop, my husband and I told them they needed to find a hotel or go home. Even though we had planned for them to stay a full week, we couldn't handle more than 2 days due to the gentle parenting. I told her that this parenting style might lead to her kids facing a harsh reality and perhaps even trouble with the law someday. She got really upset when I told her this gentle parenting approach was ineffective and would ruin her kids' future, which I now regret saying in the heat of the moment. She's no longer speaking to me, and our mom says I'm in the wrong for kicking them out when they planned on staying longer. Am I the jerk? Comments. Commenter, gentle parenting could have worked better than using violence and shouting. Most chronic negative childhood behaviors result from parenting techniques that involve physical and verbal abuse/domination. Commenter, what you did with their children was gentle parenting. If they can't behave with a dog, then you remove the dog from them. What you did to your sister was also gentle parenting. It's about having boundaries. It sounds like she has none with her children, and that is as bad or worse than abusive parenting. Op. I never used violence towards my children. I should have said raised voice instead of yell, because that is more the point I was trying to get across. It's not realistic to expect a kid to be exposed only to a calm tone 100% of the time, and then be able to deal with a non-calm tone in the real world when they're grown. There are circumstances where a raised voice is appropriate. If you don't agree, then that's okay, but I guess you're a monk. Update 1. I read the comments. It sounds like my sister's version of gentle parenting is not actually gentle parenting. However, the real gentle parenting many of you describe still sounds like an odd choice of parenting to me. If it had been around when my kids were little, I can't imagine it would have worked on them. I guess this new generation of parents is just doing things differently. I'm not sure how that will work out in the long run for society, but to each their own. The world isn't gentle. How are these gentle parented kids going to deal with the real world when someone yells at them or does anything that gentle parenting doesn't include? If our world were a perfect utopia, then gentle parenting sounds great. But it isn't, and it's not realistic to me. I don't plan on inviting my sister to stay at my home again if her kids are with her, if she ever decides to speak to me again. Despite all this, I hope our relationship is mended because she is still my sister. I just can't deal with her kids. Comments. Commenter, hi, gentle parent here. This isn't gentle parenting. You're still allowed to say no in gentle parenting. And part of me feels this is fake with how weirdly focused you are on gentle parenting itself instead of your sister's behavior. Op. I'm focused on gentle parenting because it is solely to blame for the downfall of my and my sister's relationship, which I have always cherished. I am focused on my sister's behavior, but her behavior is driven by her parenting style. She completely changed as a person when she implemented this parenting style. Commenter. The dog thing? Sure, I'd be annoyed at your sister for not intervening, but all of the things you described are regular kid things for their ages, TBH, and yelling at your sister and kicking them out after 2 days over it is a big reaction. If you consider pulling flowers and drawing on walls destroying your home, I'd quote to tell you, never have kids of your own, I guess. Op. I did have kids of my own, and they're grown now. They never did things like that because they knew there'd be consequences and didn't act like feral children. Commenter. It makes me happy to see so many people here defending what gentle parenting really is. It seems that Op is just posting here to justify harsh or physical punishments. It seems that the kids are less of an issue when compared to the action of either the Op or her sister. I'm going to guess that both grew up with punishments like Op describes. One goes one way and the other goes another. Your issues with each other could have been handled differently, but I'm guessing you're not going to ground yourselves. Op. I've told you my sister's kids destroyed my home and abused my dog, and that I don't condone spanking, but they need to clean up their mess and be held accountable. And what you got out of that was I'm a harsh parent. Update 2. Someone either sent my sister my original post, or she's on Reddit herself and saw it. She texted me a link to my post and said she can't believe I'm airing our family drama online. She told me she was leaning towards working out our differences, but now that I've posted it here, she's done and blocked me. Since I can't reach her by phone, I'll address her here since she's clearly reading this. Allison, I do love you and have always cherished our relationship, but if you feel like you're done, then that's okay. I can't change your mind. Look at me talking about feelings. You should be proud. At this point, I'm pretty done too. So here it is. You are family. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be a pushover and allow your children to behave the way they did in my home, especially pulling Bella's hair and smacking her in the face. That was animal abuse. It was all unacceptable, and I don't understand how you allow them to behave the way you and Steven allow them to. Some people have suggested I send you a bill for the damage your kids caused, but I'm not going to do that. I'll pay for the repairs, but only because I know this will never happen again since your kids are not welcome back at my home unless you drastically change your parenting style and implement legitimate discipline. I'm still not saying you need to physically discipline them, but you need to do some form of actual discipline before it's too late and their future is ruined. I don't understand why you decided to gentle parent or whatever your form of gentle parenting is, and it has changed you as a person. You don't act the way you used to, and now you are offended by everything and disagree with how anyone else does anything. I just don't understand what happened. I encourage you to look at some of the comments on the original post to see that 99% of people would have done exactly what I did in the situation, and that I was not just being harsh. There have to be consequences for bad behavior, or else you are doing your kids a disservice, which is not kind on your part. When you read the comments, some have good parenting advice, and others are harsh. But hey, that's life. It's not so gentle. Comments? Commenter? This doesn't sit right with me. I'd suggest having a talk of some sort. Op. She's blocked me and I can't call or text her. What do you suggest I do? Send her a note via pigeon? Commenter. Do you have any mutual friends who could send messages? Op. I'm not getting any of our mutual connections involved in this drama. If she blocked me, she clearly doesn't want to talk anyway. Update 3. Allison, not her real name, recently reached out to me to talk. She read some of the comments and sees that most people think she is neglecting her kids due to her parenting choices. She asked if I agree. I told her I think there could be some changes in the way she parents. She said she had tried gentle parenting, but realizes now that she got it wrong. I asked what her plan moving forward is. She apologized for the way her kids acted and said she and her husband have lost friends over the way her kids act because people don't want to be around them. She said this whole ordeal has been a wake-up call. Allison said she's going to try a different parenting style since gentle parenting didn't pan out very well for her kids. She said she's going to enforce punishment and consequences, but still no corporal punishment. I said, I think that's great. Her worry is that the kids won't take it well and it will cause even more problems. I told her they'll just have to get used to it. Apparently, her husband was never in agreement with the gentle parenting, and it has also caused marital issues because they didn't see eye to eye on it. Now, her husband is happy she's finally coming around to some form of consequences and punishment for their kids. I told her I think she's making a very wise decision. I'm still not happy about what her kids did to my house and dog, but the fact she's willing to change her parenting style so that doesn't happen again makes me feel a lot less angry. And yes, I got Allison's permission to post this update. We really were able to work things out. She really is a good person. She just had a lapse in judgment and parenting. Edit. Since this will be the last update post on this issue from me, I wanted to say something about the permissive parenting versus gentle parenting styles that many people commented on. Gentle parenting, as everyone is explaining in the comments, sounds like the kid does something wrong, then the parent asks how they feel and redirects them to a different task or activity, maybe tells them no, maybe doesn't, and they call the redirection the discipline or natural consequence part of gentle parenting. That is the exact same thing as permissive parenting because there is still no legitimate punishment or consequence. I'll agree that my sister wasn't doing the form of gentle parenting everyone was describing because all she did was talk about feelings and left out the redirection and the possible, no, don't do that. But even after reading all the comments, permissive parenting and gentle parenting sound very similar, if not the exact same. If kids are taught redirection is what happens when they do something wrong, they are going to be completely shocked and confused when there are real consequences and punishment, not just redirection or natural consequences in the real world. If they grow up and steal a car and the police arrest them, send them to jail, and make them pay a fine, they will think it's an incredibly harsh punishment and be shocked because they were only expecting a natural consequence of returning the car to the owner and then moving on with their day. Relevant comment. There were a lot, but I felt like this reflected the general tone of most comments. Commenter. Simply because this is a hill I will die on, real consequences are a crucial element of true gentle parenting. Natural consequences do not mean no consequences. Like you said, you steal a car and you get arrested. Those are the natural consequences of your actions. The same is true of gentle parenting. My kid throws a toy at me. The natural consequences are that I'm going to put that toy up because I'm not going to have someone throwing things at me. My kid draws all over the walls. They're going to clean or help me, depending on age, clean it up. They broke a sibling's toy. They're going to use their own money or toys to replace it. Redirecting is useful at a very young age, before the brain has developed to make connections. Redirecting can be useful when you haven't hit the stage of needing consequences. For example, kid is frustrated but hasn't yet thrown something. But redirecting is not the same tool as consequences, and both are vital for true parenting of all types, gentle or otherwise. Anyways, I'm glad y'all are working on it. I wish her and her husband all the best, and your relationship with her as well. Op, downvoted. The natural consequences you are describing sound more like the natural consequence of stealing a car would be returning the car to the owner, not jail. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our stories and would like to hear more, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you captivating tales and new content every week. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We appreciate every one of you for being a part of our storytelling journey.